Hey, okay, so first of all, do you need a top up?
You already know the answer to that.
Hang on a minute, I have to do you and then I'm doing
Wait,
me.
no, don't touch them.
Fucking hell, leave me some. Right.
You've already had a big glass of jam shed.
Well, how did you know that it was jam shed?
Because I could smell it, and jam shed smells incredible.
Oh, I just finished that bottle off from weeks ago, basically. And this is Merlot.
Chilean Merlot from the Co-op.
Oh, I thought you were going to say chili.
Chilean Merlot
You know, like
from
when a
Chile.
sentence ends in a way that you don't expect. It's Chilean Merlot from Co-op.
From the local Co-op.
In Chile.
Not in Chile.
Is there a Co-op in Chile?
Who knows?
Welcome to episode 6 of the Wandering Womb podcast. We are going to have probably quite a contentious conversation today.
I think it'll be contentious for some people, but not for others.
No, that's the same for everything though.
Yeah, that's true.
We're going to be talking about whataboutery and the whole what about the men type questioning when you're trying to get involved in activism, or you're writing something, or you are working in, I don't know, violence against women or women's issues or women's rights or something like that. We're going to have a conversation about how people, I don't know, it's like, what about men? Under everything. Like you've just not considered it? Like you're going to go, fucking hell.
No, see, I don't think they do it because of that. I think it's to make you... So say you will be talking or discussing or raising awareness about a really important topic that could really help improve society. People say, well, what about this? To make you look bad because they want you to feel bad.
Yeah.
Because you're threatening something. So you could be threatening what you are threatening them with what you're talking about. So, for example, campaigning against violence against women, and they could say, what about men? Or you could be talking about, I don't know, fox hunting, and they'll say, well, what about the fish who are being farmed in this country? It's because they feel like they've got one over on you.
Yeah. But I think you see it more with women's issues than anything else.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, I just... One of the first of my blogs that went fucking mega viral, that had like millions of reads.
Oh, this is my favourite one of your blog.
It was a blog that was entitled "Stop Asking Me What About the Men."
No, actually, it's not. It's called "Stop Asking Me What About Men."
Is it?
Yeah.
Number one fan.
Yeah, of course I am.
Yeah, it was like fucking... I was pissed off. I was so pissed off with it. I was so sick of it. And you know what, right? I've got a story to tell you on this podcast that I've not told you yet.
Oh, exciting times.
About this.
Excellent.
That happened this week.
Oh, exclusives from Dr. Jessica Taylor.
That makes it sound like I'm on like the cover of OK magazine and someone's got a picture of me in a bikini and I look fat. What's that face for? Exclusive pictures.
No, it's
and it's
exclusive
like me carrying like a Co-op bag. And I've got a camel toe. Exclusives.
You've got a camel
Woman has vulva.
Oh dear. Don't say vulva.
No, I'll say vulva no more. What do you have to say now? Have we gone back to like fairy and
Moving
tuppence?
swiftly on.
Oh, okay, fine. Whatever. Let's not talk about vulva. Because we'll upset the mandem. Okay. You're sniggering into the glass.
Maybe.
Don't do that, you'll choke.
Okay.
Okay,
tell me your first memorable experience of whataboutery. Of when somebody was...
Oh my God, really?
The first one that you remember.
The first one that... Right, hang on a minute. The first one that just came to mind is probably not the first time it happened, because it's been happening to me for years.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
But when
though,
you
the
asked that
first,
question...
Like, oh, okay, yeah.
When you asked that question just then, the first one that came to mind was my PhD. It was when I launched my PhD study,
Really?
which was about the victim blaming of women and girls.
Oh,
and I
no.
was fucking inundated with people being like, but what about men? Men get victim blamed as well. Like, yeah, I know, pal, but this study is about the victim blaming of women and girls. And we'll talk about the victim blaming of men and boys another time. So
or they could do it themselves.
Or
they could do a
study. If they cared about the subject that fucking much, they would know that it had already been done by Emma Sleeth 3.5 years earlier. But they don't care about men and boys, so they didn't.
Yeah, and they don't
know.
care about women's research.
They don't care about fuck all. So they're like, so I was getting, honestly, when I launched the data collection phase of the PhD, looking at the experiences and the perceptions of women and girls that have been subjected to male violence and how they're victim blamed, I was fucking inundated with messages, tweets, fucking bullshit emails, constant comments on the actual survey itself, having a go at me, saying, you don't fucking care about men, what about men, this happens to men too, all this. And do you know what? Do you know what the ironic thing was? In the actual information sheet of the survey, I'd already I'd preempted it.
Yeah.
And I'd put, this study is specifically about women and girls. If you are interested in the victim blaming and self-blaming of men who have been raped and abused, please see Dr. Emma Sleeth's work, because it's been done already. I actually put that in the second paragraph of the information sheet. Not one fucker read it, because they don't fucking care. And you know what else happened? Every fucking time somebody contacted me and was like, what about men? And I sent back, oh, hi, here's the link to all the research about the victim blaming of men. Not one bastard read it. Not one bastard fucking cared.
Of course.
Because they never fucking cared in the first place.
No, of course.
And that's what you're saying about, like, it was just a way of derailing it. It wasn't because they actually fucking care. They're not going out doing any form of activism or any form of help or support for men and boys that have actually been raped. They do not give a shit.
I think one of the biggest Trojan horses into feminism, though, is them saying, I just think that they should care about everyone equally and they just don't care about men. So that's why What About Men is so popular.
Yeah. When I was younger, I think, like, much younger, I used to fall for that, I think, and I used to
Me
go...
too.
And I used to go, no, feminism's about everybody. And now I'm like, no, fuck you, feminism's about women, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, no, I'm exactly the same.
Somebody contacted me recently and said, you know, I'm a man and I'm a feminist and I wondered if you'd, like, discuss this with me. And I sent back, I will discuss it with you, but I don't believe you're a feminist. And they were like, because they're sound guy. And he was like, what? And I was like, I don't believe you're a feminist. And he was like, why? I am a feminist. I was like, you're not a feminist, mate, because you're a bloke. You can be an ally, you can support it, you can platform women and everything, but feminism is for the liberation of females and you do not require that service. Thank you, goodbye. And he was quite like, oh, I've never heard this approach. I thought men could be feminists.
I think that's just about language, though. Like, I think if you ask men who think they're feminists, and if you say to them, is it about your own liberation, or do you just support the liberation of women? They'd be like, yeah, support the liberation of women. That's why it's called feminism.
But I do...
The dog's licking my face.
She's come to lick you.
Hello. All right.
Oh, she put her tongue in your mouth. I saw that. I saw it happen.
Oh, hello.
Oh, she loves you so much.
Oh, I've missed her.
Okay.
She's all over the mic.
Oh, Castro. You sausage head.
Right, carry on.
How am I supposed to carry on? You can't even speak. You got a tongue in your mouth. It's not
No,
mine.
I haven't.
Yeah, it was fucking... That's the one that springs to mind for me, because I remember being so annoyed that I spoke to my, like, supervisors and professors about it, and I was, like, saying to them, why won't they just let me do a study about women? Why won't people just let this study be about women? What is, like, so bad about that?
Yeah. What did they say?
university like supervisors and professors, to be honest with you, I don't think they fully understood the gravity of that backlash, because I'd said to them, I am literally getting backlash for just releasing a link to a survey, and people are sending me messages saying, you fucking bitch, you don't fucking care about men, like, why won't you study men? Or, like, I had comments left on that study that said, this study would be so much better if it was about men. I know, fuck off, let it be about women. Why? Like, and do you know what annoys me about that? Why does nobody fucking react like this when the study's about men?
Oh, of course.
Like, if I put a study up about men being raped and the victim blaming of men, I'd be a fucking hero. Probably be a fucking statue of me.
There wouldn't there be a statue of your male professor?
Yeah, with his name on it as the first author.
Yeah.
Castro, what are you doing?
She's so cute.
She's like, you're recording a podcast, so I must lick your mouth.
She likes the wine. Castro approves of the wine.
Do you think that's what it is? She doesn't usually like stuff like that.
No.
Not that I know. I've not been doing wine tasting with the
Yeah,
dog.
wine tasting.
What do you think of this one? Yeah. Spoke to her the other day. She don't like our jam shed as much as we do. Tell you that. She had a bit of it. She was shit-faced.
Oh dear.
It's just a fucking... It's honestly, it is the absolute scourge of fucking... I just don't know where it comes from. It's like this constant, deliberate derailing of anything to do with women's issues. What about men? And honestly, it depends what mood you catch me in. Sometimes I can just be like, fuck off. This is about women, go away. And other times I will engage and be like, well, actually, there's this, this and this that's been done about men already. But it depends what mood you catch me in. Because if I've got a short fuse that day, I will just be like, fuck off, it's about women. Go and fucking troll someone else. Like, we can centre women and discuss women and research women and interview women without you fucking saying that this study should be about men as well.
Yeah.
No, it shouldn't. I don't get it. It's like the equivalent, for me, it's literally the equivalent of going, we've done this study on a childhood cancer, and there's someone going, what about adult cancer? What, don't you care about adults that are dying? Do you want all adults to die?
Yeah, and it often goes like that, doesn't it? People say like, what about this? Oh, that must mean that you hate them. You want them to die.
Yeah.
But then it goes so far though, doesn't it, sometimes? Like the links that people are willing to make just
Links,
to feel...
I think you mean leaps.
Yeah, well, yeah. Like, just to, like, sort of... It's like one-upmanship, though, isn't it? Like, when it's not as obvious as what about men, people will just make different links.
Yeah.
Like... I don't know, I can't think of any off the top of my head, but...
I think we should start trolling the Cat Protection Society for not including dogs.
Yeah, what about dogs?
Hashtag what about dogs?
Hashtag what about dogs?
You fucking dog haters.
Yeah. Or the RSPB.
Yeah.
What about mice? Do you know how many birds kill mice every year?
And you've set up a whole fucking society to protect birds, you fucking murderers.
I bet you hate mice.
I bet you want all mice to die. It's just, that's what it is, though. You're right. Do you remember that? I'll mouth his name at you in a minute. That man, that MRA that trolled me and you for ages. I don't even need to mouth it.
Oh, yeah, I already know. The one who came up on...
Yeah. Right. And he trolled us for ages. And that was his, like, go-to. I would put something up. Like, so, I don't know. I put, like, this really, like, sort of tweet aimed at women going, I don't know, women... go for your smear tests. And underneath he'd be like, what about men? I'd be like...
Oh, yeah, no.
And then I'd be like, what the fuck? And so I would like ignore him because I'd think, do you know what? Fuck off. So I learned to ignore him over a few months. And then because I ignored him, it would escalate. And then he'd put, she doesn't care about men. She wants all men to commit suicide. Like, what the fuck? How did you get that from a tweet about fucking smear tests?
Yeah.
It's just fucking crazy how people will go to that length to claim that feminists... they can't get their tiny little fucking puny little bullshit minds around the fact that if you centre women, then you're just centering women. It doesn't mean you want all men to die. It means
It's
that you're choosing
the same with
to
anything
centre
else.
women.
Like, I might think that actually my favourite plant are cacti. It doesn't mean that I hate succulents.
Yes, it does. Don't fucking lie.
It just means that...
That's why you keep killing them.
I know, yeah, the only plants that are alive in this house pretty much are the cacti now.
What about that lemon tree? It's got a fucking lemon growing. It's the size of that lemon on the lemon tree.
Yeah, I don't actually know if it's still alive though, Jess.
Right, it's growing a fucking lemon. That lemon's massive. Look at it.
That's true.
And look at the way the branch is like bending because of how heavy that lemon's gone.
But what about those dead leaves?
Right, well those leaves are dead, but that lemon's sound.
I hope so.
And then you've got the bonsai tree behind us.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not joking, that bonsai tree's on its last line.
Is it? That fucking bonsai tree is so expensive. And I feel like we've tried really hard with it.
Yeah, except for when we left it when we went to France.
Oh shit, yeah.
Although the lemon tree seemed to do fine when we went to France.
Yeah. Everything else, however,
died.
Yeah.
I know, I've got to remove those plants from upstairs.
Just because you hate all of the plants except for cacti.
Yeah. When have you had it happen to? Have you had it happen to you? What about the men? When? Can you give an example?
It would mainly happen, if I'm honest. It would mainly happen on Facebook, because on Twitter, you've literally got the feminists versus the non-feminists. On Facebook, you've got like your mates and like yeah, for sure. So on there, we'd just have them all the time on anything that was feminist. But then also, like, I think being a young woman in politics, I could tweet or I could post a Facebook status about the environment, and they'd be like, "What about Yemen?"
Yeah.
And then I'd be like, "Well, I posted about Yemen the other day," and like, "All right, then, well, what about?" And then they'll say something else, and I'd be like, oh. And then when I was younger, I used to feel like I had to be like, "Oh yeah, I should talk about that."
You had to include everything all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can honestly say that I think I used to feel like that as well, and now I don't.
Yeah, no, I don't.
I actually think the more people told me about it to become more and more and more inclusive of everybody's fucking issues, the more I was like, no, I'm not doing that.
But that's because it's women's jobs,
to nurture everyone.
Yeah, and women should care about everyone and everything, and men shouldn't have to care about it.
Yeah, I know, that's so true. Like that woman that trolled me because I killed a fly.
That was so... No, you didn't even though.
I didn't kill a fly.
I tweeted about the time you told me that you punched a fly.
Yeah, I did punch a fly.
And she was really angry.
Yeah, and I was like, why do I have to care about everything? Why?
And then there was that person who had to go at you because you put chicken on the barbecue.
I know. I bought your book! And then I found out you barbecued some chicken for the dogs. I'm sorry, Castro. In future, I will only barbecue you
some
dog food.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Which also has meat in it.
You can have some barbecue dog food. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. I have no idea what what would happen if you put dog food on a barbecue. I can't imagine it'd be nice.
What, the biscuits?
Yeah, the biscuits.
Probably a little pot. I think they'd just be disgusting.
Yeah, imagine they go rock hard.
Yeah, I bet they do.
She'd probably break a little TV.
Oh, baby.
But yeah.
But no, like in all seriousness, they frame it that you don't care about anything else because they know that you could be impactful in something, and it's about one-upmanship.
I think it's misogyny, though. It's the fact that you've chosen to centre women and they cannot fucking stand it.
But a woman looks good for doing it in their eyes, and they're like, fucking hell, I don't want her to look good. How can I derail it? How can I make myself look better? And they can really quickly make themselves look better, being like, well, why don't you care about this?
Yeah.
So not only are they derailing it, but they're also making themselves look better by stamping on you.
Yeah. And making it look like they really care.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing that annoys me most, is when they're like, what about men? Or they'll go, and what about International Men's Day? And you go, oh, it's in November, mate. And they go, what? You're like, oh, right, I see. So you're one of them that's got no fucking clue, have you? You don't do nothing for, like, men's activism.
It's probably feminists who created International Men's Day.
It's fucking feminists that created loads of male services.
You don't say that as a bitter.
Radical feminists created loads of men's services,
Yeah, I know.
me being one of them.
Yeah, I know.
But, like, you know, it's thrown in radical feminists' faces all the time. Like, you hate men, you want men to die. Oh, really? Because I'm pretty sure if you check, radical feminists had a heavy hand in setting up a lot of men's services and actually are CEOs and managers and directors of men's services still to this day.
Yeah, of course.
And I'll tell you why. This is not going to go down very well. Because men can't be arsed and they're shit at organising. It's women that have done all that fucking labour. It's women that have done all the emotional support, set up mental health services, become psychologists. It's women that are the majority therapists, counsellors and psychologists of men. It's not fucking men, I'll tell you that.
It's very few.
I know. We know that psychology, therapy and counselling is dominated by females. I think it's like 70 to 80% female professions.
Yeah, it is.
So who the fuck do you think's doing all those jobs with traumatised men and abused men? It's fucking women.
I've just realised why Castro's being so lovely with me.
What did you feed her?
Nothing, I pulled out that thorn.
What, out of her back?
Yeah.
Oh.
No,
Did you ever get read like a fairy tale when you were a kid about a lion that had a fawn in its paw?
I think so.
And like some kid or something had to gently pull the fawn out and then the lion was like...
Oh,
dead
so
happy.
the kid pulled the thorn out of the lion, but what did you do to save the zebras?
He don't give a fuck about zebras.
No, he hates
as far
zebras.
As he can say, zebras can die.
Yeah.
Zebras should just commit suicide.
That's basically what that kid did.
I know, just cares about lions.
That kid, by helping the lions, has forced all those zebras to commit suicide.
He's anti-zebra.
Yeah.
He's pro-lion, anti-zebra.
Yeah.
Fucking wanker. Honestly, kids of today, fucking anti-zebra.
It's awful.
That's it. They're doomed. I just... Do you want me to tell you my story then?
Yeah, I do.
I'm warning you though, it's like a story / rant.
It's more of a comment than a story.
It's more of a comment than a question.
That's always... No, you could talk about feminism, a man puts his hand up. It's more of a comment than a question. What about men?
I know, and you're like, shut up, will you, Barry?
No, their name's never Barry. It's never a working class bloke who says it's more of a comment than a question. It's always a middle class bloke.
John.
No, it's not a John. It's usually like
Matthias.
Michelangelo.
Michelangelo. No, it isn't. It's not one of the fucking Ninja Turtles being like, excuse me.
Yeah, I was going to say actually Michelangelo wasn't, but yeah, he was.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
What's she doing? Oh, see, we've got to play fetch now while we're doing a podcast. What have you started?
Oh, no.
She's got a squeaky one. What are you doing?
Right, anyway.
She wants to be in the podcast.
Yeah. That was Castro contributing.
Yeah, Castro agrees. Castro is also
Castro,
is also
squeak
anti-zebra.
it once if you don't like men.
Fucking hell. Oh, Castro. It's alright, Castro. We already know you don't like men because you try to rip the faces off every time they bring us an Amazon parcel.
And then she realises that it's a woman and she's like, oh. Like every now and again it'll be a woman drive.
Yeah,
she's like, oh, hi.
And then she
How are you?
I know she brings them all the toys.
Yeah, she does.
She's like, hi, here's Crunchy Fox. Here's the floppy squirrel thing. Here's my pug. Here's my rabbit.
Here's my
three
ball.
balls.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like lays them all at the feet like sacrifices.
Yeah, they are, aren't they?
It's all my dead toys.
Oh dear.
That's like that time do you remember when I had that really important meeting with that particular
oh yeah,
director, and I was supposed to meet them like somewhere really official, and then I was like just dead honest with them, and I was like, I'm late. Do you want to come to my house? And they were like, yeah, okay. Then they got a taxi from the train station to our house, and then Castro gave them like 12 toys, and they just ended up surrounded by toys and like piled with toys.
Yeah.
Oh,
Bless her.
It's like you always say. I'm sure she just thinks people visit her.
She does.
I don't think she has any concept that any humans that come into this house are here for us.
Yeah, no, like anybody who comes, like even when we're out, she thinks that everybody's there for her.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, she's so cute.
Okay, do you want me to tell you my story?
Yes.
Right. I have to be careful with the way I tell this. So, you'll probably know what I'm talking about as I go on, but there's this huge magazine that wants to do this big feature on me and the book and my life and all the rest of it, right? Did this massive interview with them about a month ago, and it's getting ready for print publication and web publication. It's just like a huge interview. Anyway, they're dead happy with it. It's going really well. It's all edited and finished. It's just getting ready to be submitted. And then I got an email the other day when we got back from France being like, we're just thinking that we should probably add in a section of your interview addressing why you focus on women and girls. And I was like, why? And the email being like, we're just very aware that when this goes in the magazine, there's going to be a lot of people writing in being like, what about men? Why doesn't your book, Why Women Are Blamed for Everything, include men? You know,
why women and men are blamed for everything.
No, fucking
doesn't quite have the same ring to it.
And
you could just call it blame, really, couldn't you?
I know. So they're like saying, I think we should do an extra section of your interview addressing this point and like head it off before it happens. Anyway, thought about it, gave it a couple of days, mulled it over, emailed back, and I went, no. I've emailed them back and I've said to them, no, I am sick to fucking death of justifying myself. I do not give a shit if you are inundated with emails and letters going, why doesn't she write about men? Fuck them. That interview...
Why don't they write about men?
Yeah, I know. If you're so fucking... I'm sorry, I've just like that thing in my head whenever you go, if you care about it so much, why don't you marry him?
If you like the war so much, why don't you just marry it?
That was so funny. Was it World War II?
Yeah, there was that account that kept trolling me because I was supporting someone and they kept on talking about how England and World War II, and they just wouldn't stop talking about World War II, and I just tweeted them back saying, if you like World War II so much, why don't you just marry it?
That's how it made me feel.
If you like men so much, why don't you just marry it? It. All of men.
Just marry all men. But yeah, like, so I've emailed them back and just said, in fact, I've probably got the email. I wonder where it is. Let's see if I can find it. I'll read it out to you.
But why can't they can just signpost them to the work that has already been done?
It's already been done, yeah, I know, exactly. That's what pisses me off about it. Like, why do I have to fucking do it? I'm here writing about women. And I tell you something now, I bet you any fucking money that when Emma Sleeth did her work on the victim blaming and rape myth acceptance of men, she was not inundated with people being like, what about women? It would have been like, oh wow, it's brilliant, isn't it, that you've covered this niche piece of research, and
yeah, but it'll be feminist
to see all the, it's great to see a focus on men and boys, isn't it? But no, I'm still here years later dealing with people worried, publishing a fucking massive interview about a book that's sold thousands of copies, going, right, well, what are we going to do when people write in and ask why you've not written a book about men?
Yeah, but I bet
Tell them to fuck off.
I bet it was the feminists who were congratulating Emma and like being really supportive of Emma for doing that stuff on victim blaming of men.
I think loads of people were, like, because genuinely...
Yeah, but it's a feminist
we
position
believe,
though, isn't it?
Yeah, like, genuinely we do believe that topic needs to be discussed.
Of course. Yeah, of course it does.
I'm still trying to find the email, just one sec. I know it's in here somewhere because I had a fucking Mardy with them.
It's okay. Have you
got
got
it?
any...
Right.
Oh,
okay, ready?
Found it.
Ready? I can't read it all out, obviously, because it's a little bit... okay, I've put... There's a few other paragraphs talking about some other parts of the interview, but I've put, I do not want to include an it happens to men too section because I shouldn't have to say that every time I talk about my work. Male mental health specialists and other male psychologists all do their work, and they don't have to caveat it with, oh, actually, it happens to women substantially more, but we just focus on men. If people want to read an entire article or book about the oppression of women and girls and then choose to write into the magazine with the inevitable "what about the men" comments, then that's their own waste of time and it's their choice to do so. Apologies, but I won't bend on this. I shouldn't have to constantly make space for men in my work. The history of our field is majorly focused on men. Most of medicine was based on men. Most of science is based on men. History is chiefly the stories of men, as is religion. And I just was like, no. Like, I'm not budging on it. No.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, why can't this fucking one article be about a psychology book that was about women? What the fuck is wrong with that? Why can't they just celebrate it for what it is and not worry that some bellend somewhere is going to write them a letter and go,
but if
what
they can
about
be
men?
bothered to write a letter, why can't they just search victim blaming of men?
Oh, that is far too obvious.
Because I think a lot of stuff would come up.
Yeah, of course it would, because there's fucking loads and loads and loads
But
of
they
research
would
on it.
rather drag you down than do their own research.
Yeah, I know. Who do you think like mainly does it? The whataboutery? Like, what about the men?
I honestly, I actually don't think it's just men. Like,
No,
okay,
God, no.
I'm going to say something really controversial right now. And it's really controversial. And I'm very aware of that. Mothers of boys.
Why?
Okay, so of course, like, when you're a human, and especially when you're working class, like, you're going to be subjected to awful things in your life, unfortunately. And sometimes that might be rape, right? Even if you're a man.
Yep. Or a boy.
Yeah, or a boy.
Yep.
And as a parent, you are always on alert about all the bad things that could happen to your children. You're always thinking, oh shit, what if they get mugged? What if they, what if this happens to them? What if this happens, or what if this happens to them?
Yeah.
So when there is a huge movement that is focusing purely on women and girls, it might make them feel a bit more unsafe.
As parents?
Yeah, as parents of boys. But honestly, like...
It doesn't make me feel unsafe. I'm parent of boys.
Well, yeah, of course. That's why it's not all of you.
No, I just like...
Or us.
Well, no.
But it like...
I
so
do
I
think,
remember,
however, that parents of boys don't like to accept that their boy will one day become a man and has the potential to be an oppressor, has the potential to be an abuser, has the potential to be a rapist.
So at a Labour Party meeting, we have... it was the like annual executive committee, like where we elect them. And we have like the chair, the secretary, LGBT officer, women's officer, treasurer, woman's officer. And then a woman turned around and was like, what about the men's officer?
That's all of them, pal.
It fucking is though. It is. It is.
You should have gone, you see all them there? That's them. There's 12 of them.
Literally.
There is one of me as the woman's officer.
Yeah.
And even that is hard enough. Thank you.
Honestly, it's like
I do not need you
so
advocating
bad
for the men's officer.
Well, no, that's what it is, and it does tend to be like, and obviously she had 3 sons. Same person.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I think I've had too much to drink. I just misheard you.
What?
I thought you meant she had threesomes.
Oh my god!
I was like, why are you telling me this?
3 sons.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay.
That is not what I was saying.
I thought you were like, yeah, and she had threesomes. Like, why is this relevant to the story?
Oh my god. No.
I think everybody does it, don't they?
But
I think, like, I've had feminists do it to me, I've had academics do it to me, I've had random members of the public, I've had men do it, women do it.
I think some feminists feel... There are some people who are like, oh yeah, I'm a feminist who cares about men, because feminism should care about men. And then what they actually do is just centre men.
Oh,
and their
God,
whole feminism is just about men. They're like, I'm a feminist and I think that men should be able to talk as well. Thank you.
I was like, fucking hell. Do you know what pisses me off? around the what about the men stuff. And, like, there's plenty of people that won't agree with this, but this is just where I stand on it, I'm sorry. I don't think men should be platformed at feminist conferences or rallies. I don't think they should be able to speak.
No, I agree. There are so many, like...
It's female liberation movement.
Yeah.
Let women speak. Fuck me.
Yeah.
It's not like men don't get the chance to fucking talk, is it?
And, like, a man will say something feminist online, it'll get retweeted millions of times.
Honestly, I am this close to setting up 2 Twitter accounts of exactly identical man and woman, and they tweet the same thing at the same fucking time. And just see what happens over a period of months. Because I can fucking tell you right now what my hypothesis would be. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and I know,
sure.
and I reckon I could prove it and all. Because,
of course.
there's this one particular guy who I'm thinking of, and he is very vocal on particular issues around abuse and violence and exploitation and trafficking. And he literally says the same shit as female activists in his field, and he will get thousands and thousands of likes. He gets fucking thousands of retweets. He's seen as like a fucking hero. And like a few times I've pulled him up on it and tweeted him back and gone, well, this woman said this like 2 hours before you did, or like a day before you did. Ouch. And then like it annoys me because he is able to say things that women that he works with and knows are saying, but he's able to repeat it and get fucking brownie points to fuck for it.
Yeah, something I've just thought about, and I don't feel like I can talk about it too much, but it is something that I have noticed. Is within Black Lives Matter.
What do you mean?
What about white people?
What do you mean?
So people will be like, oh yeah, this many... You know, somebody will be saying this many black people will get held in custody when there's like not enough evidence to keep them there, or they're innocent, and then someone else will tweet back and be like, well, what about this white person who was held in custody for this long and blah blah blah.
It's exactly the same, because what
it is. Oh, of course it is.
Like, I know people will say no, it's not the same, but actually what it is, when you drill it down, it is the oppressor claiming that in
those terms.
It's the oppressor claiming that the oppressor is still more oppressed than the oppressed, i.e. it's a white person saying, look at this one white person example that I have, and this is much worse than your thousands of black people examples that you have, because I've got this one white person example, and that must mean it happens
and it's
equally.
Always the ones that, like, a female rapist or like something like that gains the most traction.
Absolutely.
Because it's not the norm, it's the exception.
Well, I always say, now you just said something really important there, because whenever I get into those types of arguments, I always say to people, the exception proves the norm, you fucking dick. Like, if you can say to me, well, there was once this one case in 2004 where this happened, I'm sorry, but if there's one fucking case you can cite, it's the exception, and that proves the norm.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like when people go, women can, I don't know, abuse kids too. There's women paedophiles too. Look at this woman who was put in prison for 18 years in 2012. And you're like, okay, sound. Here's a list of 17,000 men in the same year who got prosecuted for that offence. Yeah. Thank you for that one example you just gave.
Have you ever looked at Jean Hatchett's replies?
What, her specific replies?
Her specifically, like, she will be, she'll put up a post about riding for murdered women. Honestly, I've not seen a single tweet where she's not had somebody say, what about men?
Oh my God, someone needs to start tweeting and going, what about alive women?
what many women who've been alive? Yeah?
Fucking hell.
Why don't you ride for alive women?
She just doesn't care about the alive ones.
She wants them to die.
It's such bullshit. Why don't people get it? Oh. Honestly, it's just the biggest load of fucking derailing bullshit I've ever just come across in my life. And, like, I've had to deal with it more recently because of the book doing really well. And then obviously I'm not going to get massively into it, like, because I just don't think I'm ready yet. But I've had like some publishers, haven't I, been like, we're not publishing your book unless you include these other groups in your why women are blamed for everything. And then I've said no. And then those publishers were like, well, we're not publishing your book then. And I've gone, yeah, sound, bye. I'm not fucking bending on this. The book is about women. The book is about the victim blaming of women. And
the research was done
and the research,
on women.
Yeah, is on women. The literature is based on women. The evidence base is on women. The fucking studies and the methodology and the fucking samples were based on women. I'm not fucking budging on it just because it makes you all feel more comfortable if I add in a section about some other fucking group.
Yeah.
I'm just not doing it. And I don't give a shit if it takes away from my fucking ends. I don't care. Like, people being like, oh, she's passed up a publishing deal because she wants the book to be about women and centre women. Right, well, so.
We're worth, like, what is it, 51% of the population. Somebody has got to be just about us.
I know, it disgusts me. It disgusts me how much ground they want us to give away. We are 51% of the global population, and yet we're treated like we're fucking nothing. Like, why can't I write a book? Like, why can't anyone just write a book that's solely about women without getting shit for it? But yet, the books that are just solely about men's experiences, fucking hell, they're seen as breakthrough fucking science. They are.
I want, to do work with survivors, but only men. And people are like, oh my God, that's amazing.
Revolutionary. Like, it's not actually, because we've been trying to do that with women for about 60 fucking years, but you've been there going, what about men?
And it had already been done.
I know. And that's the irony. Is that the amount of people that are doing the what about men stuff,
they're
asking questions about things that have already been fucking done.
This is the thing, though. They don't care, because if they cared, they would already have researched it.
Of course.
And if it hasn't been done, which it has, they would have done it themselves.
I know.
And it just proves that they are just trying to do it to derail the conversation, to make you look worse, make them look better, and for them to stamp on your views.
Right.
Without having to argue.
What? Okay, last question, right? Because we've got not long left of our podcast for tonight, and I want to eat some more crisps, but I can't fucking eat them on the podcast because they're dead crunchy and that, and they make loads of noise. How should we respond to whataboutery?
I just say, why don't you just do it yourself if you care so much? Or a better one, if you love men so much, why don't you just go marry it?
You can't use that as a response to everything.
I think you'll find that I can.
Oh, fucking hell. How do I respond to it?
Oh, Castro just sat right on my bladder.
Castro, you're not allowed to sound... Oh, she's looking at me. No, don't do that to your mummy. I think it depends what mood you catch me in. I have got to the point now. I'm really just not. I just give zero fucks about this argument anymore. I think 5 or 6 years ago, if you would have asked me, oh, Jess, hi, I've noticed all your work is about women and girls. What about men? I would have been like, hi, actually, there's this and this and this, and if you'd like this link, and there's all of this interesting research, and there's this particular professor, and there's this university, and da-da-da-da. Do you know what I've learned over the last few years? They don't give a fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've stopped putting the effort in. I've stopped responding to people with that amount of effort. I have started to just say to them, it's about women.
Yeah.
And that's it, really. This particular study is about women, and that's what I've chosen to do it about.
Or what I do, because I'm so sick of doing other people's emotional labour for them, I just put Google it.
Yeah. Fucking hell.
And I just put Google it.
Because they don't like that though, do they? Sort of like
it was actually a man who taught me to do that.
Was it?
Mick. You remember Mick from the other podcast?
Yeah.
Mick, he always supports me when I tell people to do that in the local forum. Anyway.
We better go.
Just tell them to Google it.
Tell them to Google it.
Or marry it.
Google it, marry it. It's like that shag.
Google it, marry it.
Avoid.
put it in a stew. Come on, do me a cheers for the end of the podcast.
Fuck. Ah!